So, I was just in the dealer and I was eyeballing this Aprilia RS660. But anyway, in this video, I want to talk to you guys about the RS660 in comparison to the brand new ZX6R that just came out, or ZX6R in general, because the same people that are looking at the ZX6R are also looking at the RS660, and I can see why they would buy either or. But before we actually take off, I want to bring your attention to something really quickly, because I made 3 polls in the community section. One regarding why aren't my videos getting that many hits, another one about what kind of videos you guys want to watch in the future, and then lastly, if you guys want me to appear in videos or not. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link down below and vote on them, because in a couple days I'll be coming out with an update video about the changes I plan to make to the channel going forward, because September is going to be my 4th year with this channel, and I want to make some significant changes, get the viewership up, etc., and blow things up. But anyway, let's get on the road now, because we got a lot to talk about. These are 2 very, very cool motorcycles, and one of them, actually both of them, is something that I've been eyeing. Another beautiful day in San Diego. As far as the RS660 is concerned, let's talk about that one first, since it's just fresh on my mind and I just got to see it. The thing with the RS660 is that it reminds me a lot of the Porsche 911, and you might be scratching your head like, Will, what the hell are you talking about, man? 911? Well, you see, if you're a fan of Porsche, specifically 911s, 911s have like 80 different types. You got the Carrera, you got the Carrera S, you got the 4-wheel drive version, you got special editions, blah, million different versions from the first generation all the way to the last that we have today. And so with the RS660, there are like multitude of different types of configurations that they've come out with over the years, because quite frankly, I think the RS660 is Aprilia's biggest moneymaker, and that's the motorcycle that they've been selling the most. You see, people still love the 600 class motorcycles so much because, unlike leader bikes, they're not very intimidating to ride, they're cheaper to insure, and you know what, it doesn't have all that crazy power that you really don't need on the street. A 600 is all you need, my friends. And from someone who's got a 765, I can tell you that I'm not bored riding my 765. And if I ever get a 600, which I will in the future, I won't be bored of it, because it's a different kind of fun. It's manageable fun. It's something that you can use on the street, depending on where you are, all of it, without ever having to worry that you're doing 10,000 miles an hour. But that being said, the RS660 has a lot of different types of color combinations you can choose from. My personal favorite being the yellow one. It's a Valentino Rossi yellow/green color. It's absolutely incredible looking. But they have a lot of different color combinations. And at the dealership, I noticed that they have another version, something about an Extrema or Extreme or something like that. It's in Italian. I have no idea how to pronounce it. But it comes with an exhaust already built in and carbon fiber bits. I'm not sure if it's got more power or not, but those motorcycles typically have about 100 horsepower. The great thing about the RS660 is that I've reviewed it on the channel before when it first came out, like bone stock, brand new. It was like less than a week old, and I think it was a 21 or a 20. I forgot what year exactly they came out. But I reviewed that bike, and I reviewed it while in Palomar Mountain, and that's one of the places that you want to go if you want to review a bike, because you can get a really good impression of what a bike is going to be like. And the impression I got out of that bike is that it's light, it's nimble, and it's pretty zippy, and it felt like a 400 to me. Now, when I say 400, I'm not exactly talking about as fast as a 400. Obviously, it's a lot faster than a 400 because it's got 100 horsepower. But as far as the nimbleness and the weight of the bike when you're tossing it around, it felt like a 400 class bike. And that's what I particularly like about my Street Triple as well. Very light, very nimble, easy to toss around. It feels so light and nimble when you're tossing it around like this. And that's one characteristic I love about Aprilia motorcycles, I think. Even my RSV4, at 430 pounds, wet weight, whatever it is, wet, when you're tossing it around, that bike feels like a 600. But the RS660 takes it to another level. Obviously, smaller displacement, It's going to be a lighter motorcycle. I don't know by how much. Probably about 20-30 pounds. But it feels very light, very nimble. And I think the thing I like mostly about the RS660 is that it's got a very, very exotic look to it. When you're looking at the motorcycle, depending on the color that you get, well, actually any color, it doesn't matter what you get. It's got like, it's a baby version of an RS4 pretty much. The wings really don't protrude out that much, but the aerodynamics are still there. The exhaust is kind of hidden on the side, but at full chat, its exhaust does sound good with its twin engine. Nothing like a V4 obviously, but a twin engine sound is a twin engine sound, like it or not. And then the other cool part about the RS660 is that it's a completely modern bike. LCD screen, full color, exactly as you would expect from an Aprilia. It's an Italian motorcycle, full European race blood. It's got an inertial measurement unit, perfect track weapon. It's got all the bells and whistles that you can imagine as far as electronics are concerned. And then, of course, let's not forget, you get a quick up and down shifter built in. A quick shifter isn't really that expensive for manufacturers to add to motorcycles. At most, if they're making it themselves, it's going to cost them an extra $400 or $500. So I don't understand why most manufacturers don't have it. Thankfully, motorcycles like the ZX4RR have quick up and down, but the new ZX6R only has quick up, which we'll get into next. Those are the things that I like about the RS660. The price point, $10,999, is amazing for what you get. Obviously, you're not going to get top spec Brembo, you're not going to get top spec, top shelf suspension, but everything else is exactly where it needs to be as far as electronics are concerned. Power sits around 100 horsepower, which is great for a twin-cylinder engine. And then as far as reliability is concerned, not sure if I believe the dealer, but I don't know if he has any incentive to lie or not. Because he told me that the RS4 is having issues, but the RS660 is not. I don't know. I have no idea. It's up to you guys to decide. So if you think the RS660 is a relatively pain-free experience, not like my RS4, leave a comment down below. But anyway, if you're a track rider or someone that likes to whip around canyons and stuff like that, and you're not looking to go balls crazy, then the RS660 is definitely a motorcycle to have. And at a great price point, of course, let's not forget. And now, moving on to the ZX4RR from Kawasaki. So, you know, I have a very, very sweet spot. Let's see if we can beat this. Yes, we beat it. All right, let's go back to what we were talking about. I have a sweet spot for the ZX6R. A few years back, before I got my R6, a friend of mine was going away, so he lent me his ZX6R, and I fell in love with that bike. It was a 2020 model, pretty rudimentary compared to motorcycles of today. The ZX6R, I gotta be honest with you, is a pretty outdated motorcycle. Forget about the lipstick that you see on the motorcycle in the 2023-24 model, the high heels, the red dress, however you want to describe it. Let's forget about all that stuff. The ZX6R is still the same exact ZX6R as the 22s, the 21s, and the 20s. Okay? Just putting it out there, and I'm being completely honest with you. The only difference that the ZX6R really has for the 23 model, it's got a brand new dash that is pretty modern, and I think it's exactly like their ZX10Rs. But I believe that the ZX4RR and the ZX6R are pretty much similar. As far as the electronics are concerned for the ZX6R, has not changed. Everything's exactly the same. You got two different modes. You got high and low for the power, and then you have traction control, and it comes in two versions. One is ABS and the other one is non-ABS. So if you're a street rider, you may benefit from getting the ABS version, especially if you live in a climate where it's always raining. But if you're in California like I am, and you live in San Diego specifically, then you may not even need the ABS version because it hardly rains here. The weather is always perfect, and you can save yourself a whole bunch of money, because if you go to the track, the ABS will do absolutely nothing for you except make it a pain in the ass for you to ride your motorcycle. Unfortunately, the ABS cannot be turned off on that motorcycle, so if you have it, you're stuck with it. If you don't, then you don't. Let's enjoy this. baby. Oh, baby. I did say on my last video that I'm not always responsible and always an angel. Sometimes like this, I do have my fun. Don't judge me, okay? You gotta love this bike, man. 6th gear and it still pulls like a train. I don't know if that was a good analogy, like a train? I don't get it. Whatever. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. ZX6R. Fantastic bike. Oh, love that bike, man. I don't care what year you buy. But if you buy it, highly recommend that you get the earlier generation. And by earlier generation, it's really not. Because the new gen is the same as the old gen, except, as I mentioned, with lipstick and garnish. Do you really want to pay a lot of money for that? Because when I was at the dealer a couple of weeks ago, the dealer was willing to let that go for $12,000 out the door. Policeman, whoop whoop. Is that for me? Did somebody ring ahead? Let's give him a peace sign. Hopefully he doesn't bother me. Nah, he didn't bother me. We got away with that one, boys. Anyway, yeah, so I had that motorcycle and I rode it probably about 600 miles in the entire week span that I had it. Every single day I would ride that bike for at least 100 miles, and I fell in love with the 600 class because it wasn't that intimidating. It sounded absolutely delicious. That's a 4-cylinder motorcycle that does 16,000 RPM, and you know what, guys, that's as exotic and as potent as you're ever gonna get. And you know, back to the glory days of the 600 era, when you had 3 motorcycles that trumped them all. You had the 765 Daytona from Triumph, which you still have today, but they've discontinued them. They don't make them anymore because I don't understand what happened, man. People are just not riding 600s anymore, except for the RS660. But the older generation 600s are something different, my friends. And then you have the ZX6R. Thank God they're still selling that. Then you have the Gixxer 600, which is pretty popular as well. And then you have my ultimate favorite, which is the R6, a motorcycle that I still miss till this day. The glory days of the old 600 motorcycles. If you guys miss them, leave a comment down below that you missed them as well, because I feel you, brothers, I feel you. So yeah, there's a lot to love about the ZX6R. 16,000 RPM, 130 horsepower. Not too sure about the new 23 models because they've watered them down. You're gonna have to spend some money on that bike. When you get that bike, you're gonna have to put an exhaust on it, and you're gonna have to put a tune on it, and it's gonna cost you a lot more money than you anticipated. But you're gonna get a bike that goes up to 16,000 RPM, sounds like an F1 car, and you can take it to any track and go lightning fast with that bike. And it's going to be a faster bike than the RS660, that's for sure. But quite frankly, guys, you really can't go wrong with either motorcycle. If it's a budget thing, I think you're going to get a better deal in an RS660 than with a ZX6R. And guys, if you have the money, buy both, please, because they're fantastic motorcycles. I don't know which one is better for me. I love both bikes, but if I do buy either one of them, it's going to be a used, prior generation, the ZX6R. And if I buy brand new, I might buy the brand new RS660, because quite frankly, the resale values on those are absolutely incredible. They're already priced right at $11,000. And with my dealer, maybe I can shed a couple $100 off, maybe $1,000, who knows. Overall, I'll pay less money with an RS660. Now, as far as reliability is concerned, obviously, I'm not even going to tell you, but the ZX6R is going to be bulletproof because it's Japanese, and you know how Japanese bikes are. And that's it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope it was informative and helped you make a decision. Please go to the community section and vote on what needs to be done to my channel, because I need to make some serious changes, because September is going to mark my 4th year being a content creator on this channel, and I need to make some changes, and I need to make the channel better than it currently is. And until the next episode, guys, peace, and I'll see you later.